Okay, so apparently we didn't have sound on the intro video, but that's fine. Also, there's another thing. I don't have my background on right. However, I gotta say I'm pretty relaxed. It's Juli Pitra, and I'm here for my Thursday talk about Pitranomics, my 10-part strategy to grow, protect, and transfer wealth. And it's also the end of my time in the Czech Republic, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And so tonight we're going to focus on the strategy, who is in your lifeboat, and the people in your lifeboat should be helping you to paddle, not causing you to sink. And we're specifically going to talk about how to vet them, because that's really important, how to choose correctly. I'm looking forward to an interactive session. I hope we have great times. I am now going to try to share my presentation. This will be fun. So let's see. Actually, it's not working for me. Why isn't it working? It's not letting me share. There we go. Okay, so I am going to share slides. No, what am I doing? I'm sharing a screen. Bear with me. This will be fun. Okay, where is my, here we go. I'm working on all of my little, what do you call it? Snafus. It'll be fun. Let's make sure that this is shared. So can you see the presentation? Great. That's one thing that's happening great. So anyway, Pitranomics. Let's talk about what wealth is, just to remind people who haven't heard me talk before about what wealth is. It is having the available resources, whatever those may be for you, that gives you some freedom, gives you freedom to make choices that most people can't make, subject to whatever social construct you're in. So here in the States, ostensibly, we have a great deal of individual freedom. So if you have your health and you have some time, you have sufficient finances, that gets you on your way to be able to make choices with almost complete freedom. So I'm not saying it's applicable everywhere, but this is what I'm focusing on right now. Hope you guys can relate to it. So the 10-part strategy, this is a quick glimpse of what those 10 strategies are. And today we're focusing on who is in your lifeboat. Who is around you, who is helping you, who's supporting you, who's encouraging you, who's keeping you accountable, all that stuff. It's really important to have the right people. Now, it's not vital that you are in their lifeboat, but it is absolutely imperative that you figure out who should be in yours. So I wanted to share this picture. A couple of weekends ago, some friends came to visit me in the Czech Republic. Well, let me be clear. They came to visit me, but we were hosted by this lovely young man, Adam. He opened up his home to 6 crazy people, 5 of whom he'd never met. And we just hung out at his place and sat in his vineyard and sat at his patio. We have wonderful memories. And one of the reasons I wanted to share this picture is because my time with these people was life-changing. It was relaxing. Everybody should have time to spend with people that are helping you steady on your course, and you're helping them. So it's kind of like a mastermind, getting us all sort of back where we need to be. And it was cool. Everybody had something to share. Everybody had something to learn. Everybody, I don't know the right words to describe how wonderful this weekend was. Not to mention there was lots of laughter, a little bit of pulling over by the police in the Czech Republic. Fun times. So what's going on here? There we go. So let's talk about what are characteristics of a good lifeboat partner. And thanks again, Shamir, for the wonderful graphics and the wonderful presentations. I love these faces, but time with people in your lifeboat should leave you rejuvenated, not depleted. So when I go back to this weekend I just had, it made me think about many changes I want to make. I didn't even know. I was feeling a little tired, a little down, but my spirits were uplifted. I feel like I'm ready, even more so, to make the changes that I need to make and finish what I've already started. So if you feel like your energy levels are going up, and remember, energy in Pitranomics, that personal energy is a valuable resource. You want to make sure people are pouring into that cup for you, not taking away. And like I said, I had a great, great, great weekend. Also, it's like 1 something in the morning here. So this will be the last week that I do this at this time zone for me. Please forgive me if I'm a little spacey. So the next thing that a lifeboat partner should have is that triumphs and successes are joyously shared. What is surprising to me, and this I noticed after my mom passed away, because my mother was always someone that I could say, hey, I did this well. This awesome happened. I didn't have any hesitation sharing my successes, my triumphs, my joys, any of that with her. When she passed, that's when I realized how deep that void was, that there wasn't anyone I felt like I could share the great things and not worry about resentment or being belittled or anything. My mother was a special woman. She did this for a lot of people. She encouraged them and she made them feel great about their accomplishments, because every one of us has had something, probably have shared something with somebody. Oh, this really great happened to me. I'm so excited. And you got a response that was somewhat depleting, especially if that person was important to you. And it's clear to make a note here, or it's important to make a note here. A lifeboat partner is not necessarily someone you've known all your life. It's not necessarily a family member. And that's one of the things that's really hard for people to kind of get around sometimes, is that those that love you don't necessarily make a good partner in this case. So I was going to share this video and I couldn't find it, but it was on TikTok. And it talks about the first follower. Do the people in your lifeboat believe in your dream? The video on TikTok, it was kind of cool. It was a TED Talk actually. And this guy was showing on a video, this guy just dancing crazy on the beach by himself. He's just, doing something that kind of makes him look a little crazy by himself. But then the first person to join him in that kind of radical venture of just dancing crazy. So now the first person to start isn't alone. And that first person to join is the first follower. It's someone who helps your enthusiasm, your energy, your vision stay true for you. And then you have the third and the fourth. And by the time you have 10, you don't just have someone doing something avant-garde, you have a movement. You have real change because all of you are now following a new path. So the people near you, the people encouraging you, they should believe in you and they should be your first followers. You can have more than one, but they're the ones that keep you from being the lone nut to someone who's going off in an amazing direction. And I hope that was clear. So are your lifeboat partners, or the people you're choosing to be your lifeboat partners, are they either an accountability partner or an advocate or both? I have been really lucky to have had both types of people and extremely lucky to have had some rare people who were both. And there's a difference between being an advocate and an accountability partner. My mother was a great advocate / accountability partner. When it was necessary for me to be put back on the path, she did it. Say, for example, I wanted to try a new project and it was going a little awry and I'm feeling down on myself. No, it's not going the way I want. She would be the kind of person to say, it may not be going the way you want now. What are you going to do? What are the steps you're going to take to get it back to going the way you want? Get you back on track if you fall off, keep you on track. Now, the advocate should be someone that supports you to yourself and to others around you. You do not want that lifeboat partner that says to your face, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Oh my gosh, you're doing well. And then behind your back goes, I don't know what that crazy broad is doing. I'm in it. You don't want them diminishing what you're doing. They should be promoting your vision like you promote your vision. and hopefully vice versa. I have I have several great advocates, but the one I want to mention right now, who's just always so encouraging, her name is Shantae Bryant, and she is the most encouraging person I know. And she is constantly singing my praises to others. So I don't know if I have said this to her recently or ever, but shout out to my girl for always being someone to give me some positivity. And then the next thing is, do they have a skill or talent that can assist you? So you could spend time with them and feel rejuvenated, and they could share in your triumphs and successes. And they could be willing to do that crazy dance with you at first, but ideally they should have something to help you. So maybe it's someone to help keep you organized, someone to help channel your creativity, someone to help you execute those harebrained schemes. At least they seem harebrained in the beginning. And again, I'm totally blessed. Shout out to Shamir Winton for helping me get organized. Now, she's often saying, well, I haven't gotten myself organized. That's not the point. You're helping me. So you're a good lifeboat partner for me, and I'm hoping I can do the same for you, but it won't help you get organized. That won't be what I can do for you. So it's going to have to be something else. But do they have that skill? David Brown, where are you at? There you are. I want to say how grateful I am that you have come down from Colorado to help me get done what I need to get done. You're not taking my place. You're helping me do what I'm supposed to do better while learning, while growing, while figuring out whatever it is you want to do once I fall off the path or whatever. I am so lucky to have these valuable people around. So thank you very much. Just wanted to give that shout out. And the last thing, are they loyal? Oh my gosh. You can get confused and have some really wonderful people in your lifeboat and then realize not that they're trying to be disloyal, that it's just not the right time or the right energy or whatever, because being loyal to you means not doing anything to dissuade you, not doing anything to deflate your dreams, and not doing anything to, mess up your reputation. And honestly, the people who don't matter to me at all, who say negative things about me, that's not that much. It doesn't gut me. It doesn't hurt me. It's the ones that I care about. It's the ones that I let in. Those are the ones that can gut me. Anybody, that's just the way it is. It's one of the reasons I preach being careful about who's in your corner. And one thing to remember is they might be loyal on January 1st, 2023. You got to keep checking in, because you never know what's going on with them that's going to take them off being able to be a good lifeboat partner to you. So you got to pay attention. Now, signs of a bad lifeboat partner. And again, these crack me up. I love the graphics. They constantly and consistently deride your dreams. And one of the things I have found is that people who love you do this a lot. And I'll get into that a little more later. Other bad lifeboat partners or signs of lifeboat partners, they should you to death. I have some people, for example, that I went to high school with, but more importantly, that I went to grad school with, that would tell me things like, you should do this, or you shouldn't want that, or you should be satisfied with what you have. And all of that shoulding, make sure I say that carefully, shoulding, is just trying to keep you in a little ball. You don't want to let anybody should your dreams to death. Don't do it. I find myself talking to my kids. My youngest is 21. My oldest is almost 23. I try to catch myself when I say, you should, you should, you should. Now, with my kids, it's often the balance. What should I say? Sometimes they're not listening. Sometimes they are. But what I've learned is, as long as I'm providing guidance and I'm providing understanding of their dreams, in the long run, that seems to have worked out. But if I'm constantly trying to lecture them as to what they should do based on what I would do or what I think is best, It's another thing that trips me up is wanting people to have and to do what I think is best. And I'm trying to limit that. I understand it and I recognize, first step is to recognize and go to the meetings and say, hi, I'm one of those that starts shooting people to death. And everybody says, hey, Julie, we do it too. Let's stop. So, like I said, just be careful when you're trying to tell somebody what they should do. And I'm sure everybody around me that I love has had me should them a little bit. I'm going to try and stop. I won't stop completely, but I'll try and stop doing it too much. The other thing of a bad life partner, and this is what I really want to focus on, is their love for you. Well, let's start. They do love you. This happens with kids a lot from their parents. It happens with spouses from their partners. It can happen with friends when the friends start growing beyond what they know and the status quo. Their love for you is rooted in scarcity and fear. They cannot conceive of abundance and excellence. So it's not that they want something bad for you. They just can't conceive that what you're doing is going to turn out well. Those are people that you have to let love you, but they can't be in your lifeboat. That love will literally sink you. All of us knows that person, maybe that parent that's on the sideline at a sport, and they're saying, oh my gosh, don't play too rough, don't get hurt, don't do this. And the sport they're playing is football. I had a son that played football when he was little. I was scared to death that he would get hurt, a major concussion, a broken arm or leg or whatever. I mean, you hear about major injuries in football, usually not at Little League, but they do happen. And the whole time he was playing, I was very fearful for his safety. And it was hard to encourage him to go out and be aggressive and knock somebody. I mean, I tried to, but it was hard because I was afraid for his safety. But there are people that play professional football and they get hurt, but I think they would have rather pushed themselves to the limit and gotten hurt rather than never, ever pushing themselves, always playing it safe and never growing as a person. So that's just kind of be careful when doing that to the people around you. Try not to come from a place of fear or a place of scarcity. And the other thing about lifeboat partners that you need to watch out for is they are never seen to be givers. They don't give to you. They only take. So they're in your lifeboat for what you can do for them rather than how they can help you. And it is your responsibility as the captain of your lifeboat to decide who is doing what. Just because they're in there close to you, as long as your goals are congruent, they make great lifeboat partners. That's wonderful. Stay aware to the moment your goals are not congruent, then they're not good lifeboat partners, and you have to move them out. And here's the thing. The lifeboat partners you have, say at 15, shouldn't be the same ones you have at 20, shouldn't be the same ones you have at 30. You should constantly be progressing. And unless the people in your lifeboat at 15 are progressing exactly along the same path at exactly the same rate, you're going to need to change out your roster a little bit. So when I think about the people that I hung around with at 15, there's one or two that are still great, right? For the most part, I'm not saying they're bad people. It's not that. They're just not able to go on this journey and help me, and vice versa. And the same when I was in college, and then the same when I was working in the power plant. One of the things I think is great, I had wonderful years working for the City of Colorado Springs Electrical Production Division. It was great, great people. I had a lot of fun. That job was not stretching me. I'm glad I left, but I haven't had so much fun at a workspace since then. Now, most of those people I'm not in touch with anymore. I have been in touch over the years with a couple. For the most part, they're still very encouraging, but it's not an intimate relationship anymore. But what was important is when I was in that place, and this was back in the 90s, right? I was the only Black engineer on the production side, the only female engineer, I believe, as well. And there are two guys in particular that looked out for me, that made sure that I wasn't completely abused by the people who didn't want me there. And I got a little abuse you deal with it. You know, people in my generation were no softies, but I had some backup. I had some lifeboat partners. And maybe one day I'll remember to write to them and just say, thank you for being that advocate and that protector. So basically, let's evaluate your inner circle. Let's look at your family. My mom, top notch. She was great. I don't have any siblings. However, I've seen people that have siblings. And sometimes I'm surprised by how negative and discouraging family members can be. Now, for me, since I don't have any siblings, it'd be very easy to say, dump them if they're not helping you to soar. I'm trying to grasp the idea that maybe you just don't dump people that are family. So for those of you that have family that you love, and you're ever listening to me about the lifeboat, I'm saying right now, I'm not saying dump the family members, but just be careful who is close enough to impact your dreams. Love them with a long-handled spoon. That's an expression I've heard that to me, it relates. Otherwise, I'd be like, get rid of them, okay? So now friends. And this is another thing. What makes a friend? Someone you enjoy, someone you trust, someone you love, all of that stuff. I know I was in my broker meeting just the other day. I'm a realtor, for those of you that don't know, and they were like, sometimes your friends and family won't use you as a realtor. And I don't have a problem with that, not at all, because I know I have friends and family that do things that I don't use them for. And sometimes there are people who have been friends and family, and maybe I've used them and then I stopped, or maybe I won't use them at all, and they might feel some kind of way about it. But here's the thing, when it comes to my business, I make the decisions that pertain to my business according to the priorities and pressures of that business. My friendships and my family don't come into that. When it was time to raise my kids, let's talk about that. When I was a new mom, I didn't have my mom. There are people from everywhere providing advice on how you should raise your kids. And if you don't listen to them, sometimes they can say, well, I've raised 5 kids. You ought to listen to me, blah, blah, blah. You have to have that strength of character to say, yep, you raised some kids. Well done. I don't want your kids. Maybe that's not nice to say, but at least hold your position. I don't want my kids to follow your path. That was wonderful for your kids. We're going a different way. That's why our path looks different. Stick to it. Now, again, I don't have the difficulty to say, no, I'm doing it my way. Sometimes I'm even maybe hard-headed. Make sure those people that you really care about aren't derailing you because you're letting your caring get in the way of deciding who should be in your lifeboat. I like the effect, by the way. Okay, colleagues. All right, let's say you get out of college and you start in this corporation. All of you are entry level. You know what's not going to happen? Even if you were to stay in that same organization 30 years down the road, you won't all end up in the same place. Some people may choose to stay entry level because they don't want the stress. Some people may grow to become management. Let's talk about former President Barack Obama, who attended, if I understand correctly, Harvard University. While a lot of presidents have attended Harvard University, not every Harvard University grad gets to be president. That is a clear indication of divergent path. So former President Barack Obama couldn't have chosen the same choices, couldn't have made the same decisions that some of his classmates made because he wanted to do something different. He did do something different. That meant his choices, his sacrifices, all those were different. I am almost sure there are some people that he hung around with at Harvard. Maybe they were homies, maybe they were friends, they hung out, they laughed. And now they're like, Barry doesn't even call us anymore. Who does he think he is? He's just president. That ain't special. Those shouldn't be your lifeboat partners. Light just went out. Don't know why it did. So make sure that as you grow, you are constantly evaluating who's around you. Just because you started with them doesn't mean you end with them. And then neighbors. When I moved to the neighborhood where I live now in Frisco in 2007 or 6, can't remember, one of those years, I was surprised by the number of neighbors that always had opinions and always had advice they were willing to give about what you should do or what you should be happy with or what you should not try to do, et cetera, et cetera. And I just found it interesting. I do know there were people that I knew that seemed to be very affected by these opinions and, would be like, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't think it's a good idea if I do this. And I have a very specific conversation in mind. And I was sitting in this woman's car as she was lamenting the fact that she didn't have support for what she wanted to do from these people that she mentioned. And one of the first things I said to her was, why do you even care what I think? Why are you telling me? What am I supposed to do for you? And furthermore, why do you care what they think? Are they doing what you want to do? No. Are they trying to make changes that you're trying to make? No. Why does their opinion matter? Why are they derailing you from yours? One of the things my mother used to say to me all the time is, if you start doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will meet the people you're supposed to be with along the way. But just sitting around doing nothing, you're not going to meet those people. So just because those people are close to you, either by blood or by proximity or through your work, your employment, do not let them get in the way of what you're trying to do. You can pull from that pool of people to be lifeboat partners, but they shouldn't have a guaranteed pass just because there's longevity or blood ties or colleagues or school friends or neighbors. None of that stuff should matter. Each individual that steps up to be on the roster in your lifeboat should be evaluated on their individual merits at the time. So, and the last thing is your social circle. What organizations are you a member of? What are these people trying to do? And are they giving you the kind of encouragement? I'm always told, network, network, network. And I believe in networking. But just because these people run in your same social circles, are in your same sorority, are in your same charity, are involved in your philanthropy, whatever, doesn't mean that they're the ones that should be close when you're doing something completely unrelated. So anyway, this is a pretty easy topic. It requires more interaction. So it's now time for questions or feedback. I'm going to stop sharing. I appreciate your listening to my words so far. So since it's late, if anybody has anything they'd like to share, let me know. If not, I'll probably roll to bed, but I hope that meant something to those that heard it.
So I have a question. When it comes to the lifeboat, think that it's possible that a bad lifeboat partner can turn into a good one and vice versa.
Do I think it's possible? Is that what the question is? Do I think it's possible? I think it's possible, but they shouldn't be there while they're a bad one. This is my opinion. If they're not a good lifeboat partner, if they're not encouraging you, not providing a skill, not helping you feel rejuvenated, they shouldn't be there. They should be maybe on the bench, outside, waiting. And then when you say, oh, they look like they're ready, invite them onto the court to play with you, if I can mix those metaphors. I like that question though. But no, they shouldn't be a lifeboat partner while they're bad. And if they're good and they turn bad, they should be released from duty.
You're trying to say you got to fire them.
What now? You got to fire them. You're fired. Or whatever it is Trump used to say. But yeah, you gotta sometimes let them go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I like the examples you use. Those were good examples.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, by the way, it is the end of September. We're starting a new quarter. October, November, December. We're going to finish out 2023. One of the ways to jumpstart some amazing changes in your life is start thinking about the people that you're surrounded with. What are they doing for you? What are you doing for them? Are they keeping you from doing something? Are they diverting you or diverting your resources from accomplishing your dreams? It's time to maybe think about it and answer that question. What's that expression? Look at the 5 people that surround a person and you can predict their future or something. There's some expression that goes something like that. I don't have it right.
Your future income will be the average of your 5 best friends.
Okay, your future income will be
the average
of your 5 best friends. And if you're looking at income, yeah, but there's income, there's relationship success. And here's something else to think about. I remember a long time ago, someone told me, don't take marital advice from someone who hasn't had a successful marriage. I'm going to go one further. I think you can follow what a successfully married couple is doing, but you can also have a conversation with those who have crashed and burned about what not to do. And I have been, I guess this year, TikTok is my go-to platform to learn things. I'm always Googling things that I heard about on TikTok. And one of the topics that's constantly discussed about partnership and marriage is, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing men. Please don't think that's what I'm doing right now.
Yes,
but
you are.
how men don't seem to, according to a lot of women, value what it is that women bring to the table and then deride them for not bringing anything of value. So something like, well, I'm the one that makes all the money and all you do is stay at home and clean. But if you didn't have someone staying at home taking care of the house, it would be less able to be out there, I guess, burning the midnight oil and becoming the great corporate icon. Somebody has to take care of the homestead. And if it's a required function in order for you to be successful, don't dismiss it because you're not the one doing it. I don't think it's just men that do it, but what I'm seeing mostly on my For You page is pretty much of that. So somehow the algorithm is steering me to either the women who are complaining that men aren't doing enough or the men that are complaining that. So anyway, I've gotten on that side of TikTok. But in truth, if you're out here doing something and you add someone to your life, the two of you should have it easier than each of you alone. And if that's not happening, let's reevaluate why you're together with that person. Remember, 1 + 1 should make an easier life for the two. Shouldn't be harder. Any questions about that or any comments or rebuttals or anything like that?
Well, I could rebut that, I guess, refute that.
You will rebut that? Okay, let's hear it.
The other side of that is that a lot of women don't know what a good man is.
Okay, all right.
You know, I mean, what makes up a good man? A man who's making, $500,000 or 250 or 100,000. Does and I don't think a lot of women know what a good man is or what a good man for them would be or should be or could be. We have our eyes in the sky looking at what society tells us the perfect wife or perfect husband is supposed to be, and not really what, in fact, that should be. That perfect mate should be one where you communicate with, that you're attracted to. Hopefully have some of the same values and traits and desires so you can work together. Whereas I think a lot of women are just grabbing men for, what can you do for me? To put me up in a house, to take care of me, make sure that, my vacations are somewhere exotic and the clothes are all, brand name clothes. So,
You know what? I have to, if I can be perfectly frank, I am very pleased that you asked that or stated this, and annoyed at the same time.
good.
So good. So that was your design, huh? No, I actually love that. But I think if you go back to the basic tenets of what makes a good lifeboat partner for you,
Mm-hmm.
then people would choose better. But it goes back to, you have to know what you want in life. According to the Pitranomics strategies, you got to know what you want. What are you dedicating your life to? And if you don't know that, I don't know if it could be that, some people don't know what a good man is, or, some women don't know what a good man is, some men don't know what a good woman is. It could be that. But I think even deeper is they don't really know what they want.
Okay.
And because they don't know what they want, they can't choose the person that'll help them get there because they have no idea.
And that is a rabbit hole that we could go down forever. But
it is. We
have to be careful in how we present it. There, because I can think of several women that stick their nose up at certain men, and it's like, wait, well, hold on, you don't know if that's a good man or not. You're judging a book by what you perceive to be the cover instead of what the real substance is, and vice versa.
It's not even just that they don't know what a good man is. They don't know what kind of man they need. They don't know what kind of partner they need, and they're following or trying to get what either somebody else or society or social media or any of that has told them they should want, when it may or may not be what they need or what they want.
Right.
When you started talking about it, you said, is a good man somebody that makes a lot of money? No. Or a certain amount of money? No, that's not what makes a good man.
I agree.
I did not marry a man that was making a lot of money at the time that I married him. What I married was a partner. And together, no matter what difficulties we have, when it comes down to what matters, we have each other's back.
Okay.
So for me, that was a good man. For Andre, I'm a good wife. That's what he tells me. I'm a great wife for him. But I know that I was told by many men that I knew that I was not a good wife. I was not wifey material. I was not what they wanted. But I'm a good wife for Andre. And he's a good husband for me.
Fair enough.
So do you pick that way? And like you said, David, I'm going to put it right back in your court. You're like, what is a good man? Does he make money? Men choose a lot on appearance.
True. Do you want me to end?
Well, but you might be missing the right partner if she's not packaged the way you want. And my lovely host from a couple of weeks ago, Adam, we just had this conversation a couple of nights ago. He's like, he wants a partner. And here's something I don't understand. Young people are using apps to find dates, right? There's Tinder, there's whatever. And so I was looking at his Tinder profile and I was like, there are no words here. It's just a picture of you.
Oh, wow.
And he's getting on these hits. I was like, well, that's because you're good looking. What if you're not? What if you stop being good looking? Are you any less a person? I don't think I said that to him, but I thought it. And that app is encouraging you to look at a picture and swipe left or right, whichever way you should not choose a partner based on looks. Now, I am beyond pleased that my husband thought I was an attractive woman. It helps. But he had known enough pretty women to know that that wasn't the only thing that he brought to the table.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the
So,
first thing is can you have a conversation? Shit. I don't care how pretty you are. If you're plumb dumb, keep it moving.
well,
That's,
there's that, and there's conversation, and can that conversation lead to some execution of dreams,
well,
accomplishment of goals,
so herein lies the problem in that whole scenario. I'm
right?
looking at you based upon how you look and making a decision, and I don't know what substance you have, good or bad, or a whole bunch or none at all.
Exactly. So if you're looking at an app and the app is putting pictures in front of you and you are choosing based on that, I don't know how that's even possible to make a good choice. And like I told the young man, I said, I like to meet people. I like to feel the vibe. I like the energy exchange. What somebody looks like, not one person I have truly cared about do I think I would have swiped the appropriate way based on just their picture. And I think vice versa. That's not what it's about. I want, I mean, what was it that I can't remember the exact first time that I met Andre, because you meet a lot of people in school. But I will say his adventurous spirit to come over to the US and leave actually go over, because right now I'm where he's from, but to go to the US and take on that adventure, I found that amazing. To start to learn, to go to school for his degree, not in his first language, not in his second, not in his third, not in his fourth. Do you know how brave you have to be to say, okay, I'm going to learn something pretty amazing in the fifth language you've ever learned? I was impressed by that. I'm not even going to lie. Right. And he had very clear ideas about what he wanted to accomplish in life and could communicate them to me and could make me feel he had a chance to get it done.
Right.
That was very attractive. Now, would that be attractive to every female out there? I don't know. It was attractive to me. Were there a couple of girls trying to get their little space in with that man? Yeah, there were a couple. They weren't going to win against this one. Ha ha ha. But I feel like until you know what you want and until you know what direction you're willing to take to get to the accomplishment of a goal, it is not possible to know if you have the right lifeboat partners, because you can't tell if they're helping you or not if you don't know where you're going. So I still believe in the process. It's just, how are you rating the people? Go by their integrity, go by their loyalty, go by their willingness and ability to build you up, right? And hopefully, for the love of God, don't be the person they're building you up and you're stepping down on them. Don't be that person. May not be able to be in the lifeboat of somebody else, but don't be someone blasting holes in it from wherever you are. So that's kind of, I'm still there about that. Who you choose to be with you, extremely important. Who you choose to help you, extremely important. Who you choose to partner with in life, because one thing someone told me, and I believe this absolutely, the single most important and impactful financial decision you will ever make is whom you choose to marry.
Sad but true.
And then there's the other one, was it marry in haste, repent in leisure? I mean, ideally, you should choose, or one should choose, a lifeboat partner or a spouse who's a lifeboat partner, who's there for you now and who's there for you along the way. In actuality, I'm not sure if people choose that partner correctly, but it becomes doggone apparent that they aren't going along the way together.
Right.
So, and I think this in particular is an important part of who's in your lifeboat as to who is your life partner. Because no matter, you can't really scoop the spouse out. They're too involved with you. They're too close to you. They could sabotage you. They could leave lasting damage. So that is the one you got to choose carefully. And you can't choose based on the superficial. You got to choose based on where you're trying to head in your life and your understanding as to whether or not that person can help you get there.
Yep.
And one thing I like to share, because I think this is crazy, fun, beautiful, whatever. I had a list of criteria. And when I was thinking about partnering up with Andre for Life, I did my little pro-con sheet. I was like, okay, we got this and this, but there's this. We got this and this, but there's this. And the scales totally in his favor. And we were married a couple years before I knew that he did the same thing about me. Yeah, she's pretty good about this and and then scales tipped in my favor. And that's when we got together. I wish we had known about that before we got married. I think that'd be cool. But how many people, I mean, you get caught up in the romance and I love you and you make me feel good and the endorphins are going and, I'm so happy to be around you and doggone the sex is booming. Okay, great. But back up a little bit. Do your little pros and cons diagram. What is it I'm trying to accomplish in life? And how can this person help me? And how can I help them? Are our goals even congruent?
Right. Right.
I think we could have talked more about that. I mean, it turned out okay for us so far. Knock on wood, still doing well. But
Right.
have that conversation. If I suddenly were divorced or without Andre, first of all, I don't think I'm marrying again. But if I were going to, we're going to sit up there and we're going to have a nice little booklet and we're going to start taking notes. I'm like, where are you headed in the next 10 years, 20 years? You got kids? You trying to leave them something? You have something already accumulated? Because what you want to leave to your kids isn't going to come from what my husband and I have created for my kids. What do you want to do about travel? How healthy are you trying to be? What kind of, are you a positive person? Or are you consistently negative? Do I enjoy being around you? Or are you just weighing me down? Do you want to do the things that I want to do? One thing that I see a lot, partnerships, friendships, whatever, you got one friend that wants to go off and do this, and the other friend that wants to go off and do that. And that's fine. But they shouldn't be together trying to do the same thing because they're not compatible.
Right.
But people don't think about that. I don't think people are strategic about their personal relationships and their network. They're not strategic. They're emotional, which is fine. If that's your choice and you understand the consequences, you get nothing but applause from me. But one of the things I love about you, David, is I have known you so long. We have talked about so many things. We will argue and disagree on stuff. Thank you for being willing to stand toe to toe with me because I love it. But, we've both seen growth in each other. I am not the same young girl you met. No. You are not the same player that I met in the day.
No, I'm not.
But we are both serious about what we want to accomplish.
Right.
And I love that.
Absolutely.
Hey, Evan, how are you? Good to see you. And someone named Famia. I don't know if I said that right, but hey, welcome. Good to see you.
That's Famia. That's my sister.
Oh, hey, Famia. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. It's good to see you. So from what you heard, Evan, do you have anything you'd like to offer? We talked about who's in your lifeboat tonight.
Well, y'all talked about a lot. I've been down that road before. So I know exactly where my man is coming from a man's standpoint at one point in my life. And as we get older, I learned a long time ago, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you just grow old being an old fool. And
so, make them again. You make them again.
Come again.
That's right. So I learned a lot. Like I said, I was in a over a 20-year marriage. I mean, over a 25-year relationship. Just about 20 years that I was married. And then after I divorced, I never married again. So it's been over 22 years since my divorce.
It's been 22 years since your divorce?
Something like that.
Dang. You look good, bro.
Well, thank
Divorce
you.
agrees with you.
So, yeah. So been there, done that. Been the player, hit them streets, did my thing. But then I said to myself, this ain't what I want. This is not what I'm looking for.
Right.
And so, but if we had known these things, when we're younger, of course, we'd be better suited, probably in a better situation. And like you said, a lot of that is based on, not knowing, based on emotions, just going with what we had to work with at the time and what we knew, and we just ran with it. Now, one thing I can say, I was there. I was always there. I was always there for my children. I was there for my ex-wife. She never went without. That's one thing I did make absolutely sure. I wasn't going to be one of those dads that have kids and not be there for them. So that was not me.
Well,
Amen.
I'm proud of that. I'm definitely proud of that. And one thing to add, if you're a person that, not you, but if one is a person that shirks their responsibilities, I don't think you can be in anybody's lifeboat if you can't even shoulder your own.
Right.
So I'm proud to hear that about you. And by the way, before I married my husband, and we've been married, come on, 26 years, something like that. 26? Yes. Well, something like that. I had a 7-year relationship with somebody else. And I knew 3 months in, we weren't marriage material. Now there were a variety of things, but it wasn't that he was a bad person. He was a great person. He was very intelligent, was ambitious, was loving, was smart, was a whole bunch of stuff. He is a good man. I would not have wasted my time with someone that wasn't. He just wasn't the person for me, and I was not the person for him. To me, that is so clear. And you know what? I know it's clear to him too. It's not like he's saying, oh, Julie's the one that got away. I'm right where I need to be for him. That's why we can still be friendly, because there is nothing unrequited. But my husband, I didn't even know at first he was the one for me. It took some stuff happening. One was my mother got sick and died. He proved to me he could be there for me when I needed someone to be strong for me when I wasn't. Maybe that's something I should mention. Can that person be strong and carry the mantle for you when you stumble and be there to pick you back up and get you back on your feet?
Great question.
Who I've had people in my life that I thought were friends, and when there was a stumble, they were in the wind.
Right.
And you know what? Sometimes you'll miscalculate. Sometimes you'll let somebody in that isn't right. That'll happen. You just got to make sure you get them out once you know. Don't leave them there because they've been there a long time. Time to go. Like Shamir asked, can a bad lifeboat partner become a good one? That's sort of a yes and no question. No, because they shouldn't be a lifeboat partner before they become a good candidate to be a lifeboat partner. And then once in, they can be a good lifeboat partner and those things change. Ejecto seat, get them out. Let me ask you something, Evan. Are you and your ex-wife friendly?
Yes, we are.
I love that. I love that.
We have a good friendship.
Because you guys have
But
kids together, right?
yes, all my children are from one woman. I have three children,
Three
and
children. Huh?
and the thing, but it took some time for us to get there. You know, it took some time for us to get past a lot of the hurt, a lot of the what led us to the divorce, and then it took a lot of um, looking at myself. You know, I had to start looking at me
Mm.
and start evaluating myself. And one of the things I've learned is that a lot of times people don't look at themselves and evaluate themselves and say, well, was it me? What was my part in this? Where did I go wrong? They're always pointing at the other person.
Always pointing. There you go.
You know,
I love that. Yeah.
And so I had to take a step back and I had to start looking at me because I played a part in this, and I have to own up to my faults and what I did, and then just try to make it better. So the next time around, I don't know, I'm bringing value, I'm bringing more into the relationship. But then again, like you was just saying, you gotta have your book or your list, your checklist to see what you want in the relationship. Because like my man was saying, see, when we were growing up, and if we were fortunate to have moms and dads and they were our models and taught us how to be men and how to be good young women, then of course, you have something to go on. But in today's society, that's it's very rare. It's very rare to even find that. So when women get out there in the world and start discovering themselves and exploring and so forth, when young men get out there doing the same thing, they have nothing to go by. They don't have that mentorship. They don't have that fatherly figure in their life to teach them, how to treat a woman, or what it's like to be a man, to even be sure your own self, to know yourself.
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of times we have those problems. We lead with what we got instead of leading with who we are. So,
And what you have is fleeting. Who you are is what endures.
That's right.
So I love how you said that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you know what else? I'm going to tell you this. Not enough women listen to men. They're dating men, which is great. I have wonderful male friends. And I honestly believe that without my male friends, it would have been difficult to stay married because I don't speak male. Y'all have a whole new language and way of thought. It has been very helpful to speak to a man that I'm not involved in to get insight on like men so I could be better to the man I committed to. But you got to be careful with that because you don't want to be talking to somebody that doesn't have the success of your marriage as their goal. They're trying to get in it or break you up. You don't want that. You want somebody that's supporting what it is you're trying to do, which is, stay married, raise kids, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I've got my spouse who's my lifeboat partner. Then I've got the people that are helping me stay married. They're lifeboat partners too, at least in that regard. And David, you're one of them too, because David and I've been friends longer than I've been married.
Right.
Sometimes he breaks down that really weird male code. Don't make no sense, except the men.
It's not so much of a male code. It comes to trying to understand each other, but you can't understand if we're not good listeners. And like when I was in the military, I went to a communication class. One of the first things they taught us in the communication class was learn to listen. And that's a skill. I had no idea that listening is a taught skill. And you have to learn to listen. That's the number one thing. If you don't learn to listen with intent, it's kind of like, I hear what you say, but I'm not listening. And that a lot of times is fault in a lot of us. Yeah, I hear you, but I'm not really listening. Or I hear you, but I'm I wasn't really listening to what you were saying. You have to listen with intent.
Yeah.
You know.
Listen with intent. Yes.
No, it's one of the habits of highly effective people. Seek to understand before being understood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's exactly right, but it's one of Covey's.
But the
principles.
point is there. You know,
Yeah.
here's the thing. If both partners are seeking to understand, then both partners will be understood.
Listen to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know, one can't do over talking and the other's not listening. And you know, you gotta be willing to, okay, here is the form, like especially when it's something that you're having a disagreement with your partner or your mate. Okay, then you sit there, hey, honey, I'm gonna listen to you for a few, get it off your chest, tell me what's up, and then I have to listen with intent. You know, then.
Yeah.
But you can't always be, you know, ready to jump in and say your bit. You know, when it hits somewhere, or struck a nerve or whatever, you just gotta hold it and listen.
Right.
You know, it's funny. I
Sometimes-
just saw earlier a TikTok video that said if someone says something derogatory to you, your response should be thank you and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though how they respond to you, how they interact with you has more to do with about them than it does you, there may be a small kernel of something useful you could take as long as you don't throw your emotions into that and make it a complete fire. Thank you. Keep it moving. And I just heard that video tonight. I am less inclined if someone's going to be blasting at me to say thank you. I am probably more inclined to pop off and say something back. But let's see if I can get
Not
Shut
you.
up, David.
Not you.
Well, we have a little bit of that in all of us, you know, especially when it gets emotional.
Yes.
Right.
You know, but that's also room to grow. So we have to work on those things, especially when you're in a professional form and you're trying to keep it professional. So sometimes you have to take your emotions out of it and try to stay as professional as possible.
There you
Amen to
go.
that.
There you go.
Yep.
So maybe it'd be nice to come up with a worksheet or a checklist or at least a tool to help create the checklist. What makes a good life partner for you? What are some things you want to avoid in your life partner? What makes a good lifeboat partner? And what are things to avoid?
Right.
Yeah.
For me, it is with Andre, he knew what he wanted. He was able to communicate it to me. I believed he could do it. It's not the only thing, but it was up there.
Good deal.
But I like what you said earlier, though. When Andre became your life partner, you didn't even see it. You didn't even see it before it even happened.
No, I
In
didn't.
him, it was a situation that caused y'all to be where it was a start. The situation, it was the beginning of what is today.
Hmm.
So you just never know. You know, a lot of times, I remember years ago I was dating this young lady, and she was very religious, and she said, "Well," I said, "Well," I said, "What are you waiting on?" "I'm waiting for God to send me the man that I want." I said, "Okie dokie." So
Obviously, he's not this one.
I said, "Well, what does that mean? Is he going to send you one, and he's going to knock on your door, and he's going to say, 'Well, here I am, God sent me'? I mean, how does that work?" Well, anyway,
Right.
you know, I don't. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, you even when you're with a person that you just met or whatever, and it's going, you don't see it until you start getting to know one another, and then certain situations that comes about, that's when you truly see, you know, the realness of that person. depending on the situation and how they're going to rise to the occasion or not. To be there
Right.
for you, or you be there for them.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly. So, you know what? It looks like this is a topic, particularly for life partners, that we could delve in further. So we will revisit on the next round, lifeboat partners that are life partners, or life partners that are lifeboat partners, or whatever, vice versa.
Right.
Mhm.
But I really appreciate the interaction. I love that. This helps fill my cup. I appreciate it. And I'm going to call it a night. Thank you guys for being with me. I'll see you next week. Next week, I'll be stateside.
All right.
My 6 p.m. will be close to your 6 p.m.
Before you go, how I saw a post that you put on there when you went to visit some of the downtown area. How are you liking it over there? And how long have you been over there?
Oh, I love it here. I mean, I used to live here before we lived in Texas. It's one of my favorite places.
And where is this at?
I'm in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful place. I love the pace of life. I love that people take the time to enjoy themselves and live in the now. I love the countryside. The weather's nice. It's not quite as hot as it's been in Texas. It's just, I don't know. It's great for me here.
Yeah.
I hope
Okay.
everybody gets a chance to visit. Maybe come when I'm here and we can explore, because I do love it.
Well, what you've shown so far is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Evan, we'll have to meet in person. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. You guys take care. Mwah. And good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.